It is my immense pleasure and my honor to welcome all of you here, all the dignitaries who have come far away, especially to make this event a very successful.
And at this time, I would like to invite eminent speaker Manish Naidu, a leading name in the Indian education sector. Mr. Manish Naidu is the esteemed founder of Brainwonders, India's largest counseling organization. Over the past decade, his determination and vision has expanded to its 110 global centers and more than 1,200 connected schools. He has been revolutionizing the face of academic guidance, career development, and personal growth via its US patented DMIT and online psychometric tests. Manish Naidu will be sharing his research on understanding career traits through fingerprint analysis. Welcome to the stage.
Developed by the professional team at Brainwonders, DMIT can assess the child's inborn strengths, weaknesses, and characteristics, all through fingerprint patterns. With the Dermatoglyphics Multiple Intelligence Test, or DMIT, you can understand how a student learns, their basic behavior patterns, and born habits. Fingerprints have a close association with the development of the brain, and both are developed early in the womb. An analysis of the fingerprints reveals a unique understanding of the mind. The results from the test can help educators and parents determine the best approach to teach their students and children, allowing them to learn in their most appropriate style.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Could you please introduce yourself? My name is Yasmin Pizza and Sarita Venkat Vinayak. I'm the Cambridge representative. Sachin Sazura. Janet Morris, I'm the Director of International Network, part of Cambridge International Examinations. Ma'am, we had conducted a Brainwonders test for you, and we had done the counselling for you for the same. What is your experience about the report and the counselling? I feel, had I known it earlier, I would use this knowledge to the best of my experience. It's a very good program. I must say that the analysis was spot on. I was extremely happy. I was stunned. I think the whole concept of Brainwonders is very good. I found it very scientific. I found it very methodical and logical. The test was actually quite accurate. The Brainwonder concept is beautiful. Concept is wonderful for the children. It's an amazing and wonderful experience for me. Very finely scripted and clear and concise. I think it will be really a great help to the parents and to us. It's very impressive. We get to know what are the characteristics of these students, we come to know what are their strengths, and the best part is that you can then help the students to develop the areas which need the development. Would you, as an educationist, like to recommend this for the students? Yes, definitely. Happy to say that students will learn a lot more aspects about themselves when they do your analysis. Yes, of course. I'm looking forward that all the school children should be encouraged in this line so that parents know and educators, as educators, we know what best we can do for them. I would be recommending it to people. I would recommend it even to my own family members who are not a part of the school. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would definitely, yes, I would be recommending this concept to all schools. In fact, a lot of myths are going to clarify.
To learn more about DMIT and Brainwonders, visit us at www.brainwonders.in. Work with children in their areas of weakness and help maintain their strengths and inborn talents with Brain Wonders.
Thank you, audience. The vast amount of people who have assembled out here. A heartfelt thanks for all of you to understand and listen to one of the major pioneering aspects of this particular generation, which is going to change the way you look at life. So here I represent Brainwonders in this beautiful campus of Oxford, the University of Oxford, the new college, which presumably is the old college, and my heartfelt gratitude to the fact that we have been allowed to do this presentation, which has got a lot of research backed into it. So what we do is we do genetic mapping. So what we do is we do something called as DMIT. So the Dermatoglyphics Multiple Intelligence Test, which we have rechristened as DTS. So what is DTS is Dermatoglyphics Testing Center. It's a very simple process. Okay, all of you in your careers would have done various tests, MBTI, personality, Myers-Briggs, etc., etc., etc. The problem is there is a lot of peer pressure, parental pressure, and understanding of your own innate intelligence, which never happens till you reach the age of 30 or 35 or 40, and then it is too late. Most of us sitting out here would watch for the fact that they would have been better off doing some other career, or probably they would have identified the potential that the career which you're choosing now is something which you would have done long time back rather than just waving through the waves. So that's what we're doing it. It's a US patented test. We need a scanner, and that's how it works. So since July 2011, that is when we started the particular company, Brainwonders has emphasized on using the dermatographics multiple intelligence tool as one of the most powerful tools to identify the potential of each particular individual. And over the last few years, we have millions and millions of data which has been collected, emphasized, and in the crux of the PPT which would follow through, you would understand why. The key theories, analysis. So there are only three things for everything. First is you collect the data, second is you analyze it, and then you work upon it, right? That's the three things, and that is what we have done precisely. So DTS is a scientific way of understanding biometrics or the genetic intelligence of a person. Now, what dermatoglyphics testing system does it identifies the characteristics of a person through only fingerprints. You'll say, why fingerprints? Fingerprints is the most unique thing ever. Fingerprints and your retina never changes. That's why in India, you have the Aadhaar scan where you have the fingerprints and the retina. Fingerprint is last to be degenerated from a decomposed body. Fingerprints which are formed in the mother's womb from the age of 13 to the 18th week never changes in your lifetime. In fact, in deformed, decomposed bodies of accidental nature in advanced countries, you identify the person on the basis of fingerprints alone. That's how powerful fingerprints are. Fingerprints has three particular traits. One, uniqueness. There are 100 billion people who are born and another 100 billion who would be born. Each of them would ever have the different fingerprint trait. And most of them would be collaborated in only the 16 fingerprint trait. So who has got us in here? Allah, God, Jesus, Ram, everyone, the Holy Lord who has got you in. Each of you have their own fingerprint traits only on the basis of the biometric scans, which would never match the other. So uniqueness, invariance, and it's hereditary in nature. So the research on fingerprints was started by Francis Galton, who was the grandnephew of Isaac Newton. He said, why is a particular village which is into farming or which is into army or which is into, say for example, a woodcutter, behave in a particular way? When everything changes, the demographics, the way they look, the height, weight, everything changes. So what is so unique? Then they identified that the fingerprint trait is unique. They are similar but not the same. That's why before it got globalized, a particular sect of community used to do a particular way in the same way. That's how uniqueness of the particular villages happen. Yeah. So these are the main types which comes through it. I hope the video covers this. We identify the personality characteristics of the particular person. There are 16 different PI. It's called a personality index. Each person is unique in its own way. How do you identify it? We do it. Learning style, visual, auditory, kinesthetic. There are three different types of learning styles of a particular person. That's the reason why if a teacher teaches in a particular way, all the 30 students or 40 students get different academic marks. Why? Because the teaching style of the person doesn't match with the learning style of the particular child. Even in this huge audience of yours, there will be somebody who's only visual in nature who will just look at it. He'll say, just move across this guy. Somebody who would listen to me auditorily. Somebody would say, brush off all the two. Let me kinesthetically or figure it out the way how it is work. So the different learning style, analysis of the strengths. You'll have to understand, all of you sitting out here, you would never know what sort of careers would come up after 8 years. This test, but any psychometric test evaluation is based on three flaws. One, the state of the mind of the particular person. Second, the knowledge of that particular person at that particular time. Third, the stress factor of that particular person on that particular time, which means that all this written question test can be flawed because, and also we are talking communication in the pattern. All of this is written in English. So if you have an African or a Hindi or a Punjabi or Jewish, the understanding of the language will make it difficult to give the right answer, which means even if the question is right and we have the right temperament, the answer can be wrong, which means that it could be a flawed method. Any Q&A methodology is always a flawed method of taking it ahead. Learning styles. You have the Carl Jung method of identifying the learning pattern. Let's understand, if there is a 3-year-old child and if all of you are there, who is going to get the maximum amount of learning style benefits? The child who is 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years will learn much more faster than all of you put together, because the brain develops at the faster pace. And you, if you don't identify the learning style of the child at an early age, you lose out on the golden frame, the golden period. So anybody who has kids, anybody who has got the kids between the age of 0 to 8, understand the child cannot speak for himself or herself. By the time you experiment on your child and understand that what the career traits are, it's gone. Identify the child at an early age. That's what you have to do. Intelligences. So you have, it's controversial. People say there are 2 intelligence, there are 4. Unfortunately, most of the admission pattern is based purely and purely only on your logical and analytical ability to understand and score marks in maths and science. Trust me, in the next coming generation, humanities will score the highest. Your interpersonal score will score the highest. The top 500 people who are heading the particular companies are not very high on IQ, they're very high on EQ, they're very high on emotional quotient. Why is it? Because there is no test in the schooling academy which can identify the emotional intelligence of Angel or of me. Is there any test? No. You go purely on academics. You have test, you have the NTS system, you have the ILS system, you have the vocabulary system, but there is no system to identify the innate ability of a child, more importantly, the multiple intelligences. And trust me, there are 16 different types of MI. Interest. So it's very interesting to know that 80 or 95% of the time, the whole world is run by the great now called Mr. John Holland's interest test, which means it is standardized across the world. There is an interest test on the basis of which you identify your careers. Now, my question out here, and my main problem is the interest of the child will keep varying every 3 or 6 months. the amount of information which I get now and the amount of information which I get after 3 months or 6 months or 9 months will curate what I need to do in the future. Which means interest test, however brilliant it may be, is the flawed way of understanding a particular person. It is just 10% of the iceberg. Development across the lifespan. Brownward's ecological model, Eric Erickson's psychological model, the cognitive thing. It understands that the intelligence of the child grows, which means that we have to identify where you have to start with. You all came to London, you all came to Oxford, you all knew where to start with. You all started with your home. It is not that you started anywhere else, which means that you have to know where you are starting from to identify and reach to their destination. That's what the DMIT does. So we did huge sampling. India is known for population, and we have taken the best out of it. We have understood, we have done the research, we have done the sampling. The geographical location is across the country involving a couple of nations. We have the sample size of 643 individuals, which we have the QAC certificates countersigned on. We have the sample features, we have the process where we have the biometric scan done, the report got generated, and the QAC certificate got done in by the participant. Ethical consideration is also being taken on, and the T scores have also been taken with respect to the correlation description. This is how a typical QAC report looked like, which was being countersigned. How I think it is too small for you. The overall analysis of the child, the personality trait, the learning style, the top 3 strengths, the career recommendation, the overall guidance provided, the guidance provided on the particular personality trait of the child, the learning style, the secondary learning style. Wow, there are 2 learning styles, by the way. Okay, and overall career guidance and the top 5 careers recommended. This was the huge sample size being collected by us. The results. So, a very interesting factor which you should all note is the world is divided into 4 different types of fingerprint trait, which is called the vole, the ulnar, the arc, and the radial. Out of which, genetically it is mapped that vole is 10 to 15% of the world population, ulnar is 80 to 85% of it, and arc is 3 to 5% of it. So the fingerprint trait is different. Now, in our correlation, it showed that the vole has 9 types, the loop and the arc. The next one, yeah. The accuracy report and the counseling trait, we identified on the basis of personality, learning style, strengths, recommendation, career, and overall accuracy. And this is the brilliant accuracy report which we received, which is more than 90%, which is unprecedented in any of the accuracy report being stated in, or the data collected. Counseling domain, gender-wise analysis. Yeah. So we have left no stone unturned to understand that we have covered everything, right from a lower domain to a higher domain, right from K-12 to a middle class citizen, right from identifying the learning style to the career recommendation, gender wise, accuracy age wise, so that you don't say that, wow, I had somebody said that the ideal age of identifying a career is between the 9th standard to the 11th standard, which means the 13 to 16. I said, no, wrong. By the time you're done up with, identification of the career has to be done as early as possible. If not the particular career, at least the domain of that particular career. The difference between a genius and a normal person, according to Malcolm Gladwin, is 10,000 hours. There's a beautiful book called Outliers. You'll all have to read it. It says the difference between a normal child and an outlier is 10,000 hours. How would you attend it if you take it at ninth standard, which is what, 13 years, Angel? No, it can't work in. You have to identify the child's innate potential at the age of 3, 4, 5, 6. Give 13 years. Why do you think the Russians and the Chinese dominate in Olympics or anything else? All of their Olympic medalists are between the age of 16 to 19 because they have started at the age of 3 or 4 or 5. Being a communist country, they are in a position to identify the skill set of a particular person, and if they feel the gross motor intelligence of a particular child is high, they put them into swimming. If they feel that the fine motor intelligence with the visual is high, they put into archery. Spatial intelligence is high, they put them into table tennis. Identify, use your trait to identify the people ahead. Interpretation, on an average of all the QAC reports which we have identified, everybody has said that the reported accuracy is above 90%, where the minimum benchmark is only 60%. The learning style, the career scores, there is a very negligible discrepancy of age and gender, because that is something which has not been mentioned by them. So there are key trends. Apart from the students, several parents and teachers have also reported the Dermatoglyphic Test Center. You know why? The onus is not on the child to be a happy child. The onus is on the parents to become a happy child. Because the onus is on the parents. The child is just coming to the being. So the onus is on the parents to ensure that they identify it on the right way. So across the span of 7 years, 10 being the highest and lowest being the 4, this has been the various forms of terminologies which we have used over the period of years. Validation. The responsibilities of us, we installed the mobile app, we met the client, we helped them understand what it is all about. We registered the client, we ensured that the scanner is being connected, we captured all the 3 fingerprint traits. None of the fingerprints is ever stored in our alignment. After assessing the image quality, it has been uploaded. Qualification, if it is above the age of 18, we have taken the signature of the parent. If it is below if it is taken by the person himself, and if it is below the age of 18, we have taken the parent's signature and the confirmation for the same. We have this particular app, and we get into the training which all our counseling psychologists have worked towards it. We do a rapport building, build the client foundation, we summarize it, we counsel it, we identify the skill set, and then we work towards it. The qualification of all our counseling psychologists, all the counselors are either clinical or counseling psychologists with minimum 2 years of experience, and that's when we a huge amount of training practice being given to the counseling psychologist to ensure that the counseling being given to the particular parents is up to the date. DTS has identified the traits, learning styles, strengths, overall characteristics, the way I have mentioned it. Abilities, explanation, characteristics. We have also worked towards the weakness, and we have worked towards the recommendation of the improvement. Recommendation of the improvement not only for the strength but also for the weaknesses. Because as I told you earlier on, the weakness is going to ensure that you work over the trait. Visual comprehension method, fine motor intelligence, gross motor intelligence. Fine is something which has got to do with your hands, gross is something which has got to do with your whole body. So there are in the 16 different types of intelligence, we have covered each and every parameter. Communication, leadership, vision. Somebody who's having great communication and low leadership will be a consultant. Somebody who has got great leadership but no communication will ensure that the business never moves around. So there has to be a balance between both of it, and that's what we tend to do. So if people have low communication and high leadership, low leadership and high communication, we will work towards it, because that's how you can move forward in a better way. This is a particular report. I'll be glad enough to have the fingerprint scans being taken for all of you present out here whenever the time reports in. So it talks about the TFRC, the left and right brain dominance, which we haven't touched upon, but that's a brilliant thing. Your 16 different types of parameters, your learning styles, personality, parents to note, key strengths, parenting, very hugely. There are key recommendation being stated. There is one of the recommendation which has been shown in case your gross motor intelligence is low, but this is the way it works in. Career recommendation. For example, we have got 530 careers mapped to 11,000 colleges and 13,000 courses. We leave no stone unturned. Your career counselor will only know 10, 20, 30, 40 careers. We at the back end have mapped everything across the globe. So you have the personality trait, you have the intelligence report, and you have the vocational coaching as well. So this is the impact. Obviously, the impact is huge. I will want you to have a photo snap of this particular impact, which we have done over the years. And after this research publication happens in, we are sure that the impact is going to be much more. For future exploration, we are looking at now higher education. Our focus was always K-12, kindergarten to 12, because we thought that that is going to be the major change. But fortunately or unfortunately, 80% of my clients are above the age of 30 or 35, because they would have done different stages and different streams in their life. And now they are saying, boy, because of something we did, peer or parental pressure, but now the true calling is coming in. So we want to identify what to do next, and that is the way we are going. Thank you. I think you have been a wonderful audience. Any questions?
So for there are success stories like how KFC was being found after he turned 50 years old. So you've been mentioning about the threshold of 3-year-old where you have to find the abilities of what a person is. So there are a lot of people who have finished colleges and also are not still able to find what they want to do. So even in that age, is it fine to do this text?
It is. It is. In fact, the child is confused or the person is confused almost every time. You would have done your particular classes because of peer, parental, or academic scores. But over a period of time, like you have a camera in your hand, which means that you should have identified your genetic trait as visual in nature and start working towards it, which means photography, if it was your passion and nature was your passion, you should have started it early. But having said that, now that you have reached at the age of 24, 25, 27, nothing is too late. Let us understand McDonald's. It was started by Ray Kroc at the age of 65. So I think any age and every age you identify. The moment you start, that's the way you start. That's the time you start. Thank you.
Thank you, Manish. The next award goes to Manish Naidu.